Good morning, and thank you very much for your interest in our presentations and to TSA for bringing this all together. I'm Cathy Stevulak. I'm privileged to present for Yasmine Dabbous, who's in Lebanon right now, and unfortunately able to join us. But she's definitely with us in spirit, and she has sent a 7-minute video presentation in her own words that I will present. But first, I'd just like to give a little introduction before I present her video, and then I did have a chance to ask her some questions as well, so I'll do a little sort of rhetorical Q&A, me and Yasmine back and forth after the video for a couple of minutes. I met Yasmine in New York when she was a student at FIT. She studied textiles over the last couple of years, and being from Lebanon, she was always thinking about the Syrians who were forced to come into Lebanon. And she thought about the role of textiles. What is the role of textiles? What is the role of textiles in the lives of Syrian women? She said when refugees come from their land to another land, really often all they have is the clothing on their backs. And so it's in fact the textiles that they have with them, sometimes the only things that they have with them, that is their home. So what they have on them is their home. So she decided to explore this a little bit more and create an installation at FIT. And while working on that installation, on that theme at FIT, she did research about the various organizations that support Syrian refugees through handwork in Lebanon. She found an organization named Basman and Zitoune, and they operate one of the biggest initiatives of this sort in Lebanon. Basman and Zitoune started as a group of volunteers dedicated to serving Syrian refugees in Lebanon, and it was founded by Syrian expatriates currently residing in Lebanon who want to motivate Syrian youth and women that are victimized by the conflict. They want to find and initiate avenues for those affected by the conflict to develop their skills and to live a life of dignity. Just to provide a little bit of context, which is in Yasmine's presentation, but there are some facts and figures. I'll actually probably read her presentation because there's some text in it. I'll read that text in case some of you in the back won't be able to read it. But 45% of the population of Syria was displaced, or about 11 million people. And 1 to 2 million of those came to Lebanon. So as Lebanon has a population of 4.54 million people, that's almost half the country's population. Half the country's original population is now refugees from Syria. And Lebanon is about 1/3 of the size of Belgium, or about 1/100th of the size of British Columbia, which is the province of Canada in which we are having this conference. So just to provide a little bit of context as to when you see the images in the film, that's a little bit of the context. At the end of the presentation, you'll see images of textiles that Yasmine herself embroidered on shreds of cloth, intermingled with images of Syrian refugees with whom she has worked. This project was on exhibition at FIT in December of 2017, giving pause for thought about the role of textiles in our lives, and in particular in the lives of refugees. Yasmine's a visual cultural artist, PhD in journalism and cultural history, and she founded Kinship Stories, a line of tribal wearable art that tells stories. She came from journalism to art after severe trauma, and the joy and empowerment that she found as she embroidered necklaces, and her severe frustration and helplessness toward the events in Syria led her to this project, the worst humanitarian crisis of our time, Mercy Corps. 11.5% of the population killed or injured, Total death toll over 500,000, 11 million displaced, or 45% of the population. Lebanon, as I mentioned, estimated 4.4 million people with weak infrastructure and economy, 1.5 officially registered refugees, unofficial count 2 million, 7 camps in dire conditions with work permits often denied due to political considerations. In this bleak context, textiles make up a ray of hope, especially for Syrian women. This study is a work in progress. Yasmine had in-depth interviews with 4 female Syrian refugees embroiderers, who are embroiderers, 1 female Syrian designer working with embroiderers, and a female Syrian administrator at the workshop understudy. There are 4 major findings on the role that textiles play with Syrian refugee women. Stitched connections. Textiles create a quadruple connection between Lebanese designers, Syrian embroiderers, people trapped in Syria, and consumers around the world. Visual material cultures in the home as mechanisms for remembering geographies of lived environments.
Everything we do, we send pictures to Syria. We want our families to see the wonderful work we are doing. We really feel so proud.
It's amazing that people have our work and buy it. Something we created is now in America, in Japan. It's just almost unbelievable. I never ever thought this would happen to me.
Embroidery as a repetitive meditative practice that provides refugees with powerful ways of remembering, mourning, and reconstructing memories of trauma.
Every time I look at the textiles and their colors, I feel like a child. They are full of hope and happiness. These beautiful colors and these beautiful designs, they bring me hope.
There is a lot of laughter here. It is not sad, it is happy. At the same time, of course, there is an underlying sadness, but the mood overall here is happy.
Stitched communities. Textiles create a platform where memory of and hope for home crystallize among the embroiderers. This home is the Syria that is no more, but that will become, and the new home that is the camps in Lebanon.
We're all one big family. We talk about everything. We help each other. We visit each other outside work. If one of us gets tired or does not come to the workshop, we ask about her. We push her, encourage her to stay. If one of us is sick, we visit her. We are one community and one family of women who support each other.
Stitching life together. For women refugees who work outside of the formal economy, embroidery creates a vital opportunity and a definite step toward a strong sense of independence.
We only get a small percentage, but it is so significant that it is a lot. It is small, yet it's very, very big. It has meaning.
We are free people. We are strong. We are free of fear. When I go back to Aleppo, I want to work in embroidery too. I want to find people who can do the same project there, and I want to contribute. I'm also teaching my daughter. I want to transmit the skill I learned because because it is empowering.
Stitched identities. Resistant politics is projected through the use of needlework with the aim of connecting with and improving Syrian image and identity.
I am using patterns that I learned in Syria. My mother always tried to teach me how to embroider, but I never wanted to do it seriously. Now I do. Every time I work, I think of her. I just love it.
Our textiles are moving the image of Syria away from destruction, chaos, loss, and death. All we hear and see in the news is people dying from bombs, people dying on boats in the middle of the sea, houses completely destroyed. It is all bad. What we are doing is helping people to dream, the people who want a better life. We are focusing on hope rather than despair.
So this is Yasmine's installation. I did not work with Yasmine in these refugee camps, but having been to a number of refugee camps over my career, I do sense that sentiment that she has about the hope. And it's sometimes difficult to think when we're at this conference and discussing, about designers and about embroiderers and how we work together and different roles and whatever, to then suddenly step into a refugee camp and try and apply some of those models, because the models don't necessarily, they evolve, the models evolve over time. But I just had some questions for Yasmine that I'll share with you and that she and I had a conversation about. So I wondered whether the women had any stitching skills before, because obviously, many women do have stitching skills. But she said that some in this project that they were working with had stitching skills before, but others didn't. And they all came together and they wanted to learn. So even if they had stitching skills, they wanted to have some guidance and this training that the organization, Basman and Zetuya, provided for them. She said that the designs are almost exclusively developed by designers and not by the embroiderers themselves. And when I questioned that, she said that they just want to embroider and said that they prefer this because it's easy. They are not in the state of mind right now and do not have the background to develop designs. Well, or even if they do, they're just not in the state of mind right now to be developing these designs. They prefer the repetitive, simple, soothing, predictable nature of the work that they do. And I asked if the embroidery techniques are indigenous to Syria, the ones that they're making. She said that some of them are. You heard some of them saying that they were, but some of them are not, and to some extent it depends on the designer who's working with them. The designers actually sell the work for them, and they have a small studio in the camp, so that you can imagine there are many visitors to these offices, and they have the opportunity to buy this work. I also asked about this small percentage of sales because, of course, I thought that everyone will want to know, are these women fairly paid? And she said that they actually discuss and they're paid what they ask for. The payments are given by the organization and then distributed equally among the embroiderers. The organization sets the price per piece, and then they divide the sales among the working women, guaranteeing that all get the same share. So again, that might evolve over time, but that's currently how the project is set out. It doesn't matter what is sold and what is not. They will all get a share. And then the organization develops the ideas, controls the quality, secures the commissions, and deals with the designers. Also secures donations and markets the pieces. In terms of how the project is supported, it's international NGOs that support the work and also commissions. But it's mostly individual donations that keep that women's workshop rolling. The commissions are from Lebanon and abroad, and primarily from designers. So I asked Yasmine if she was here, and from the research she's done to date, what does she think the international textile community would like to know about this project and research, and what would she like others to do to sort of carry on some of the learnings that she's had to date. She said, I'd just like people to know how much the decision to work with artisans can have an impact on the lives of others at so many levels, and how one aesthetic decision to include an artisanal element in one's design can transform a community in dire need in so many ways. And I think we all have those sentiments here, but I think that communicating that in all of our daily actions to people that we share our lives with, I think that's what she would like as a conclusion to this presentation. So thank you all very much.